Hello, all, and welcome. And I am the realist philosopher, and this is Stupid Shit People Say. So, how y'all doing today? I hope you're all doing good, fine, and well. So, every once in a while, it's been a long time since I made the last episode, but every once in a while, I want to address some of the dumb shit that I read online. And since it's been a while since I've done this, there's a lot of dumb shit to talk about. Of course, I'm not going to specifically name people, nor am I going to say what websites I'm getting these stupid things that people say from, although I might, but I'm not going to name the groups specifically or the people specifically because I don't want to be accused of harassing people or encouraging others to harass or troll them. Yes, we don't want to offend the snowflakes out there, even though those snowflakes have no problem offending those of us who are not on the left. And apparently, you can only be a troll if you're not on the left, meaning if you're not politically correct. It's funny how that works out. Anyhow, let's get to what I think is a very stupid question because it's self-evident. Number one, do women use cats and dogs as substitutes for children? Are you kidding, right? How could you ask this question? Is water really wet? Yeah, it's really wet. And yeah, women do use cats and dogs as substitutes for children, okay? Got a lot of angry, bitter, man-hating feminists running around, but they still feel this hole in their heart. They still need some companionship because women, they're really not independent. That's why they run around all day talking about how independent they are because it's the exact opposite of what they actually are. Because, you know, women are all feminists and feminists are all just leftist, cultural Marxists. They essentially say the exact opposite of what is true in reality. So, yeah. They use cats and dogs as substitutes for kitties. Next. Number two, is watching pornography healthy for a person? It's a hell of a lot healthier than shackling yourself to some evil, cackling, broom-riding harpy witch who's eventually going to leave your ass because she's not content, irreconcilable differences, and take all your shit. That's a hell of a lot less healthy because you may or may not blow your head off, jump off a bridge, or hang yourself because she stole all your shit. So, yeah, pornography is a much better option. Next. Now, I think this next question is stupid. Okay, I think it's stupid. Some of you might think it's deep. Why are we here? Your question implies that there is a why to begin with, but we just haven't found it yet. There is no why. In regards to something like meaning or some kind of intrinsic meaning to life or some kind of meaning that's been woven into the fabric of the universe. Doesn't exist. As far as the why is in what happened to bring about all life, which would include us, I don't know. Scientists have been working on that. Most concur that it was a big bang of some kind. There's been research done into microwave radiation that has told us both the age of the universe and that, in fact, it probably did come from a big bang. So in terms of a why, in regards to the what, why are we here? Because at some point, all the matter in the universe was packed into one tiny little space that I guess reached critical mass and then kaboom! Which gets us to where we are now, with the universe still expanding outwards at the speed of light, a result of that Big Bang 13.8 million years ago. A Big Bang that could have been the result of a prior universe collapsing, its expansion eventually beginning to slow down, stop, and then contract back upon itself at an equal speed to its expansion until all that matter, all that energy became condensed into one tiny space, reached critical mass, and then kaboom, expanded again. So it could be that life, the universe, is a continuing and unending expansion and retraction, and then expands again and then retracts again. Anyhow, moving on. Okay, next dumb question from a highly uneducated person. Why are humans so weak? Because we don't need to be strong. Somebody else who doesn't know how evolution works. Next! All right, next question. Yeah, I think it's dumb. Is there something that lasts forever? If love doesn't last forever, then what's forever for? What? Okay, first of all, there's no such thing as forever. Eventually, even the universe will stop expanding, and we know it's expanding, and it will contract back upon itself. No way to know exactly how long it'll take for that expansion to slow down and then eventually stop. So we have no idea. Since we don't know that, we have no idea when it will begin to collapse back upon itself. So we really have no idea when we humans and the Earth will be obliterated in that eventual contraction. But I can tell you one thing, it's not going to be forever. The Earth is not going to last forever. The universe in its current form is not going to last forever. Although I suppose you could say to yourself, well, since the universe seems to be constantly expanding, contracting, and then expanding again, that's a type of forever, right? In essence, it's kind of a recycling of the same matter again and again and again. It's an interesting way to look at it, I suppose. But no, there is no forever for things as they are in their current form. Anyway, next. Okay, next dumb comment. We would have been more developed. In what way? More developed how? Okay, so automatically this person is conflating intellectual development with just plain development. The only type of development is intelligence. No, there's many different kinds of development. So, we would have been more developed and with higher intellect if sex didn't give pleasure. Justify. What? What? What is he trying to say exactly? That the areas of our brain that create pleasure, good feelings, would somehow be geared toward intellect? I'm confused. So, if the pleasure centers of the brain didn't exist, hey, pal, if the pleasure centers of the brain didn't exist, you wouldn't exist either, okay? There's a reason sex feels good, Pinhead. It's because if we don't have it, well, there won't be any more humans. You exist because of that pleasure center, Pinhead, and evolution knows that, okay? I'm, of course, speaking figuratively, not literally. What I mean is that throughout the process of human evolution, certain traits, certain things have become hardwired into our brain that are conducive to our survival, all right? Now, I would say that sex is not only conducive, but necessary. If we don't have sex, we don't fucking procreate. We don't fuck. We don't procreate. We have that pleasure center as a motivation to fuck, so we will procreate. It's an incentive. That's why the pleasure center exists, you idiot. If it didn't feel good, why would we then do it? Because, let's be honest, sex is a lot of work, right? It's a lot of work, especially if you're a guy. The Waymans, you can just lay there and usually does. But you, as a man, have to do an awful lot of work. So why would you do it if it didn't feel good, right? Pleasure is an evolutionary adaptation to encourage people to fuck, you idiot. And asking if we would have more intelligence if we didn't have the pleasure centers in our brain is retarded. If we didn't have the pleasure centers in our brain, we wouldn't exist to have any intelligence in the first place. Pinhead. All right, next. Oh, listen to this. What are the early symptoms of atheism and an imminent cure? Early symptoms of atheism. Oh, my God. Asking questions, wanting evidence, facts over feelings, demanding proof of something before you believe in it. Yeah, I guess you could call that the early symptoms of atheism. Ooh, the evil atheist. Can't have that. Can't have atheism. Oh, no. Look what's happening to America because far too many Americans have given up their religion, and look what's happened. Got all these radical leftists running around. I got news for you. They're religious people, too. Their religion is just leftism, Marxism. They've just traded one religion for another. And I would argue that religion, having been forced on people for thousands of years, is part and parcel why people are so easily and so lacking in immunity. Seductive lure of religion. of not having to think for one's self, of having all the answers, not having to expend any energy. Everything is explained for you. No doubt. I'm going to go to heaven. I do this, that, and this. I have no anxiety. No more fear of death because I know there's an afterlife. That's a very easy path. It's a very easy path. And leftism offers a kind of similar path, right? Except instead of promising you a heaven after you die, it promises you a heaven in this world, right? It promises you utopia on earth while you're still in your physical body. But it's still a religion. It's still based on faith. There's no evidence whatsoever to support socialism, Marxism, that it in any way, shape, or form works. In fact, there is plenty of evidence to point to the fact that it doesn't work. But that's faith for you. You can show religious people tons and tons of evidence that, this exists for this reason, that reason. It doesn't refute your belief, but your belief is based on nothing. You have no evidence for what you believe. You think that everything is designed. I can show you the naturalistic processes that create and shape our world, but you'll just attribute those to God. You'll essentially believe what you want to believe in the end, and that's the way leftists are. So yeah, it's very comforting. It's very comforting to have all the answers, not to have to think about anything, and to have a type of purpose in life as well that'll eventually culminate in heaven. For the Christians and Muslims, that's after you die. For the socialists, they think they can achieve that here on earth. Both of them are wrong. Next. Okay, this is pretty funny. So, somebody is asking, where are the administrators of this group? So I'm reading one of these philosophy groups on, I'll say the website, Facebook. I'm not going to tell you the exact group, though, and there's so many, you'll never find out. So you're not going to be able to identify the person whose post I'm talking about. So I cannot be accused of encouraging people to troll or harass someone, okay? But this is hilarious. Somebody posted, where are the administrators of this group? Someone asked, why do we need socks? This just seems so funny to me. Because I did read an earlier post and it said, why do we wear socks? Which is a stupid question. So I thought I would bring up this reply as well as the original question itself. Well, let me tell you, okay? You need socks because the socks, they absorb the moisture from your feet, you see. Okay? They collect the moisture and the dirt and whatever germs grow throughout the day from your feet, mainly. Try this. Go a few weeks without wearing socks and then see what happens. See how your shoes stink to high heaven. Oh, it'll almost knock you out if you take the shoe off and you've been wearing a pair of shoes for a month with no socks. Oh, my God. I think your shoes sweat something like a cup a day or 2 cups a day each foot. It's an amazing amount of sweat that they produce. So you need the socks. You need the socks, okay? So that all those germs and all that sweat doesn't soak into your shoes, okay? Shoes, which, by the way, you can't so easily throw into a washing machine unless you want them to fall apart. But guess what? You can wash socks. Yeah, so yet another dumb question answered, but I found this reply to that amusing. Where are the administrators of this group? Someone asked, why do we need socks? Come on already. Just because it's a philosophy group, you don't need to take it so seriously. This is one thing that annoys me about philosophy in general. People think that just because you're discussing philosophy, you have to stand on ceremony and put yourself in this ivory tower and only talk about really serious stuff and not be silly from time to time. Nah, it's been my experience that a lot of people that study philosophy, talk about philosophy, take themselves and the subject far too seriously. So this struck me as amusing, so I wanted to address it. Anyhow, moving on. But yeah, where are the administrators? People are talking about socks. Stone somebody. It's not a serious enough subject. All right. Okay, here's a real dumb question, I think. What's the difference between legal and moral rights? Should they always overlap? Okay, well, first of all, legal rights are what the government, okay, or ostensibly what the people, all right, want to be their rights. They vote on it. Gets passed, becomes law. Now you have this right. They're a construct. They're a construct, okay? Now, of course, they exist. Laws exist. They are real, but they're created by man. As far as moral rights, you have none. You have no moral rights. The only rights you have are the ones that you're able to fight for, that you are willing to sacrifice for, that you do the work for. Rights are a positive. They require positive action. You have to actually do things to guarantee that you have certain rights. They don't just exist, okay, in and of themselves. And neither does morality, by the way. That also is sourced from the subjective, but once we all get together and agree upon these things, then they become an objective, real thing that we use as a measuring stick to determine what's right, what's wrong, what's moral, what's immoral, what's legal, what's illegal. And by the way, people oftentimes consider certain things immoral, and they are, all right? If they clash against well-being, I suggest you check out a video on my channel. I'll post the link in the description of this video. You can go check that out yourself, which talks about what morality is, where it comes from. Anyhow, morality, something can be immoral, but not illegal. And something can be legal, but immoral. For example, taxes, which is stealing from people. It's immoral, but it's legal. All right, I don't want to get too deep into this. That could be actually a very long conversation. Let's move on. But in the simplest terms, legality, what's legal, what's moral in terms of rights. One is ostensibly everybody getting together and agreeing on laws that are best for everyone, that should apply for everyone, that contribute the most to everyone's well-being, so long as the law itself doesn't do more harm than good in its implementation. So there's a certain level of coercion from the top down in regards to the government has to use the threat of force to a certain extent anyway, to get people to not infringe upon your legal rights. Not rob you, not kill you. If they do, they'll get killed, they'll get shot, they'll go to jail, they'll get their freedom taken away. Meanwhile, moral rights that are not rights that have been guaranteed and are protected by the law under the threat of coercion, force. If you break those laws, no such things really exist in coercive terms. So there's a difference right there. Now, of course, in America, for example, we did used to have a much stricter system. We used to have a much stricter way of going about things. There was an apparatus in place called stigma and shame that sought to actively nudge people in the right direction to do what was best for everybody in regards to those things that, they weren't illegal, but they were immoral. Of course, by the way, that apparatus is gone now. There's no stigma for anything, it seems. So that's kind of why we're in the shitty position we are in the West now. Anyway, let's move on. All right, next dumb comment. Atheists must save me from death. I'm ready to accept atheism now. So we got another dummy here that doesn't know what atheism is or isn't. Hey, pal, atheism is just, I don't believe in this God, okay? That's it. You haven't convinced me. It's like Bigfoot. You tell me Bigfoot exists. You tell me you have a pet Bigfoot in your garage. Okay. I'm kind of skeptical. That seems like an extraordinary claim to me. I mean, if you tell me you have a fucking pony in your garage, right? You rented a pony for the weekend so your little daughter could ride around on the fucking pony for her birthday. Yeah, that's not such a stretch. I know ponies exist. I know places rent ponies. I can believe that, all right? I don't necessarily need you to show me the pony and show me the pony eating hay and in your garage and a big pile of crap it left there. I don't need to see that. I'll take your word for it. Now, if you tell me that you have a Sasquatch living in your garage, I'm going to have to see that. I'm going to need some evidence. I'm going to need some pretty extraordinary evidence. You're going to have to take me to your house. You're going to have to open up the garage. You're going to have to show me this big, stinky, 8-foot-tall Sasquatch. And it better not be a guy in a monkey suit, or I'm going to be real pissed that I took a trip all this way for nothing. So there's kind of a difference there. And insofar as there's a difference between the pony and the Sasquatch, There's light years of difference between a fucking Sasquatch and a god, okay? It's at least plausible in my mind, possible, because, we have found rare, exotic species of animals that are really weird-looking shit, and we've never seen them before, and they've been discovered. And it's like, whoa, holy shit, that's a real animal? Wow, okay. At least that's possible based on what I know about the naturalistic world. You're trying to tell me that there's some other world that exists outside of time, that this God exists within, because it would have to be timeless, right? Because if it wasn't timeless, then the God living and existing within it would be susceptible to the same ravages of time that essentially, even now, are affecting our sun, our world. There is nothing timeless within our universe. Nothing. Not even the universe itself is timeless. Which is why these people are always saying he exists somewhere else, outside the universe, where we don't know. It's a timeless place. He'd have to be timeless for their little fairy tale story to work, Because if time applies to him as well, then he would get old and die. Just like our universe, all right? So no, he has to be timeless, but he created everything, he, she, whatever, but somehow, he escaped the necessity for a creator of everything. Everything needs a creator except him. He always existed, right? Wait a second, wait, what? I love how these people always argue that everything had to be created except God. God didn't have a creator. Well, isn't that a special pleading argument? See, atheism is just, I do not believe in your Bigfoot. You need to show me evidence of your Bigfoot. Same goes for dragons, fairies, and unicorns, which I would be more likely to believe in than your God, but I would still need evidence. No evidence. I'm just going to make some shit up. Yeah, that doesn't do it for me. I'm not going to believe your made-up shit that you're trying to present to me as facts, okay? And neither would you if I tried to tell you that I had a Bigfoot in my motherfucking garage, or a fairy, or a fucking unicorn. You wouldn't believe me either. You would demand evidence. But for some reason, your logic, reason, and critical thinking skills get turned off when the subject of a God comes up. I don't need no evidence. Yeah, can somebody say cognitive dissonance? Can somebody say that you're lacking in self-awareness, my friend? And let me just add that you, the person that wrote this, you're also an atheist. Do you believe in Thor? Do you believe in Odin? Do you believe in Ares? Do you believe in Aphrodite or the thousands of other gods that have existed or still do supposedly exist, at least in the minds of their believers? What about all of them? Do you believe in them? No. You need to prove to me they exist. But wait. But why do you believe in yours then? I love it. So this idiot, who is essentially saying that atheism is a something when it's actually just a lack of belief because I've seen no evidence. There's no ideology. There's no system. Atheism's not a religion. It's just I don't believe in Bigfoot. I don't believe in God because I haven't seen evidence. And you, my friend, are also an atheist. You're just too stupid to realize it. You're an atheist. Every other freaking God that's existed except your own sacred cow. All right, moving on. Okay, here we have another dumb comment. What is a higher civilization than capitalism? Okay, Pinhead. Let me explain something to you, Pinhead. Capitalism is not a civilization, okay? Capitalism is just the word we use to describe the economic activity within a free civilization where people are free to trade with each other and voluntarily enter into contracts and work for other people, work for themselves. Just essentially the economic activity within a free society. That's it. And it manifests itself in a number of ways, and the study of those manifestations and identifying and studying those happenings has been going capitalism. It's not a civilization. It's not a civilization. Oh, God. You're free to do what you want. You're free to work for who you want to work for. In a free market, you can start your own business. No licenses required. No regulations. Do whatever the fuck you want. You want to sit out in the corner and shine shoes? Well, okay. Very few people wear shoes that can be shined anymore. I bet you see my point. Do whatever the hell you want. You want to make a lemonade stand, okay? No license needed. You're a 5-year-old little girl, you want to have a lemonade stand? Whatever, latte stand. I don't know. I mean, do people even drink lemonade anymore? But whatever you want to do, you do it. And if you can make money at it, great. If you have the gumption to make money at it, great. If you don't, you could try something else. If you're not very good at making money yourself, if you're not an entrepreneur, if you just don't have the brain cells to rub together, if you don't have any real, if you don't have enough marketable skills, as it were, and the intelligence as well, just the skills, just the ability to open your own business, you go work for somebody else. You go work for somebody else. You negotiate what you think is a fair price based on what you bring to the table. And there you go. There's no exploitation, because exploitation infers that there's no consent, that there's no freedom of will, that there's no freedom, period. You don't have a choice in the matter. You must do this. That's slavery, okay? Not a free market, not capitalism. Capitalism is being free to choose to do what you want and how you do it, in regards to producing, making a living. Lots of socialists like to get together and argue and complain about how these horrible evils and ills that occur in a free society, we're able to do what the hell you want. And of course, they bitch and moan because they're just not able to get ahead like some people that they deep down envy. So instead of working their asses off and maybe carving out their own little slice of heaven within that free society, well, instead they want to tear the rich man down. They want to tear the successful person down, make it so that everybody's a loser just like them. All right, next dumb question. Why did Socrates hate democracy? Okay, first of all, you need to ask yourself, why is democracy bad, okay? And yes, democracy is, generally speaking, bad, because what democracy is, simply put, is the majority ruling the minority. It is the 51% telling the other 49% what to do. That's why a constitutional republic is such a wonderful thing. And by the way, that's what America is actually supposed to be. It's not a democracy. I get tired of these people running around saying, America's a democracy. No! It's not a democracy. We democratically elect our politicians, but that's not a democracy. So, yeah. We're not a democracy in America. We're a constitutional republic. That means that certain rights have been enshrined into law with about as much strength as you could enshrine them. They require, in most cases, a 2/3 vote of the Senate and the Congress. It would require a lot of votes to overturn these enshrined rights. And they are considered the foundation that republic, that country, is built upon. So they're very, very important. Revered almost, and they should be. At least in the case of America. It's not just the whims and will of the people that can change. The wind blows, today we like guns, tomorrow we don't like guns. Maybe there's this horrible thing that happens, like, and I don't know, New Zealand, where some whack job goes into a couple mosques and blows away some people, and the next week, you've got the prime minister there making guns illegal, banning guns and taking everybody's guns. I wonder how she was able to do that. Could it be that they didn't have a constitutionally protected right to bear arms? Could it be that they just had some weak laws on the books that could very easily be done away with, as if it was a piece of snotty old tissue paper? Could that be the case? Yeah, constitutional republic, a constitution with constitutionally protected rights that have been agreed upon the inception of that country. They are not subject to the whims and wills of a simple 1 or 2% majority. Meanwhile, if you just have the majority of people who vote, they're going to get their way. That's a very good way to create an unstable country that will not stand the tests of time. Anyhow, moving on. But first, let me add that It's not because America is a constitutional republic that America is failing. It's because of ever-encroaching democracy that is causing America to fail as a republic. Just wanted to add that. Let's move on. Okay, this next one is real easy. What is afterlife? Nothing, because there's no such thing. That was easy. Next. You see, to say something exists, you have to actually prove it exists first before you can then ask the question, what is it? If you can't even prove it exists, if you can't look at it, study it, identify it in some way, how the hell can you look at any of its properties to then discover what it is? If it doesn't exist, you can't comment on what it is to begin with, at least not in any authoritative way. I mean, you can play make-believe like religious people do and talk about what heaven and hell are, but, you know, that's just that's just a type of LARPing, as it were. All right, let's move on. Okay, this one don't make any sense to me. I'm imagining Forrest Gump or Forrest Gump 2.0 wrote this. This is really, really stupid. Why aren't lesbians attracted to gays or vice versa? I have nothing against homosexual people. Okay, good to know. When the person said gays, by the way, they're talking about, you know, men. This doesn't make any sense to me, by the way. Lesbians don't like men. Whether or not, though, it doesn't matter. The guy's gay. Not, at least they claim not to. Meanwhile, they're banging each other with strap-on cocks. It's very interesting. Yeah, they say they hate men. They don't like men. They like to munch muff. But, you know, you don't see gay guys banging poon, do you? You don't see gay guys with, you know, replicas of poon, do you? And banging that. Oh, no, because they don't like it. They think it looks like a roast beef sandwich or something. They don't like the beef flaps. I've talked to some gay guys. They're like, oh, it's so disgusting. Ooh, that looks like a beef sandwich. Because some of these guys, I guess, went to a strip club once and saw it, and it was like, oh, God, that's hideous. So, yeah. And while I don't believe that there's such a thing as people being genetically gay or lesbo, gay guys are a real phenomenon. It's caused by life experiences, trauma, whatever, something that happened in their childhood that got some wires crossed. But lesbos, no such thing. No such thing as a lesbian, sorry. Sorry, Charlie. If you got a big drawer full of replicas, you like men, okay? Or at least you like certain parts of them. So don't tell me that you're a lesbo, all right? Okay, moving on. All right, here's some more dumb questions. Who am I? What are you asking me for? So stupid. The fuck you asking me who you are for? I don't know who you are. Do you know who you are? You expect me to know who you are, but you don't know who you are? Fuck off. And who are you? I'm me, Pinhead. Who are you? Just a brain? Well, I mean, you know, I got hands, I got arms, I got legs, I got a torso and all that. So I'm not just a brain. But if you're talking about in a physical sense, is that all I am? Yeah. You know why? Because I have no evidence to prove otherwise. This is the evidence I've got. I have a certain amount of evidence, and I have to go with that evidence. I can't just start, you know, playing games and doing fucking make-believe because I want to believe something else because it's comfortable for me to believe that. It's uncomfortable for me to believe that this is all I am. So I'm going to choose to believe in some fairy tale that there's some other timeless world universe somewhere else I'm going to go to, but I have no evidence for it, except for some old sheep-herding dudes 2,000 years ago who couldn't read, couldn't write, but somehow God talked to them and they wrote all this shit down. Really? I think not. Moving on. Existentialism, yes. So here's the next dumb question. What is the purpose of the universe? You're assuming there is a purpose. So your question is already poorly formed. So the question itself, it's essentially making a statement in a way. You're saying that there's a purpose, but what is it? How do you know there's a purpose? How did you come to a conclusion? I love the presupposition. Yeah, there's a purpose to the universe. I just don't know what it is. Well, how do you know there's a fucking purpose to the universe to begin with, pal, huh? How'd you come to that conclusion? It's just what I want to believe, and it was the only way that I could frame this question to begin with. You asked the wrong question, okay? First question should be, is there purpose to the universe? Only when you've established that there is, which there isn't, by the way, can you ask the question of what is that purpose? No, there is no purpose to the universe, so this is a dumb motherfucking question. There is no purpose. Period. No purpose to the universe. Show it to me. Show me your evidence that allowed you to come to the conclusion that there is a purpose to begin with. Oh, I have no such evidence. It's just something I believe. It's just something I believe. Yeah, where? From what? You pulled that idea out of your ass? Not somebody else pulled it out of their ass and gave it to me, right? Or I've never even thought about it. I've never even questioned the idea that there might not be purpose to the universe. Of course there's purpose. I just don't know what it is. Ah, really? Could it be because there isn't one? Could it be that people find the purpose in their own life and that there's not some universal meaning, purpose woven into the fabric of things that you just have to find, which would mean that would mean the same goddamn purpose applies to everybody, which is total bullshit. No. We all find the purpose in our own life. There is no large, all-encompassing purpose to life, existence, or the universe. Got it? Good. Next. All right, next stupid question, comment. Which do you choose? A, $1 billion, or B, beautiful wife? Well, since I don't want a wife, and you shouldn't either if you have half a brain and live in the West, I will choose the $1 billion because while I don't want a wife, if I've got $1 billion, I most certainly can get all the good-looking broads I want. And I'm not going to be stupid enough to marry them and then allow them to take half of my $1 billion. And by the way, if I had the option to choose both, I still wouldn't choose the beautiful wife. Beautiful mistress, sure. Beautiful booty call, great. Beautiful friend with benefits, awesome. Beautiful wife, Pass. All right, next. And here's a dumb question. Truth is subjective or universal? Oh, boy. Hey, Pinhead. Truth is truth, okay? Truth is truth. When you say subjective, what you're meaning to say really is relative. That it depends on who you ask. No. Truth is truth. There is no such thing as my truth, your truth. There's just truth. Got it? Oh, here we go. Here we go. Listen to this. Has anyone in this group experienced supernatural power? Please share what it was like. So, the person who's asking this question automatically believes in the supernatural and wants to see if other people have had experiences. All right, let me inform you of something, my friend, okay? There are no real witches. There are no real warlocks. There are no necromancers, okay? They don't exist. They're not real. You think I wouldn't love to go dig up Abe Lincoln and get some kind of necromancer shaman to bring him back to life so we can make him the next president? You think I wouldn't love to do that? But it's not possible. All right? No necromancy, no magic, no spells, rituals, or any of that bullshit works. It's all a bunch of crap. So sorry to be the one to inform you that Harry Potter is just a book and not reality. This is great. Oh, listen to this. Why are there so many stupid people in here asking stupid questions? Oh, my God. Well, that's a stupid question right there. So you're one of the stupid people. There's so many stupid people asking stupid questions because the majority of people are stupid. Do you realize that the average IQ in America is 100? And do you also realize that for the average IQ to be a 100, it means that half the population has to have an IQ below 100? People are dumb. That's why they ask dumb questions, dummy. Next. Okay, this next question, it just strikes me as so dumb. The level of naivete. Listen to this. Why do bad things happen to good people and good things happen to bad people? Because, pal, Maybe you haven't realized this, but life ain't fair, okay? There's a lot of chaos and disorder in the world, huh? Life's not fair. Now, I will say that generally speaking, of course, this is not always true because there's a certain level of randomness to life. You can't control everything. But generally, if you're a good person, generally more good will happen to you than bad and vice versa. But of course, there's no guarantees. Nothing is for certain. But to say that you never know what you're going to get, no. You can be pretty certain what you're going to get, but of course you can't have 100% certainty. Of course not. But generally speaking, if you live a good life, then you will have a good life. Does that mean that if you live a good life, you won't get cancer or get hit by a car or a bus or... No, it doesn't mean any of those things. Sure, bad things can happen to you. But of course, there are things you can do to make that less likely. Eat right, exercise when you hit 50, take a little tiny baby aspirin every day. That'll reduce the chance of getting cancer by 50%. But even if you do everything right, bad things can still happen, sure. Look, the truth of the matter is the universe is a chaotic mess. But there are things you can do to ameliorate the amount of randomness in your life to a minimum and to reduce the chances of bad things happening to you to a minimum. Does that mean they still won't happen? No, because in the end, you don't have ultimate control. You don't have ultimate certainty. Of course not. And by the way, who would want to live a life that they had ultimate control over and ultimate certainty about what would happen? Boy, that would be one fucking boring life if you ask me. You always knew what was going to happen. Everything was certain. Oh, God. I wouldn't want to live that life. No way. Anyhow, moving on. All right, next dumb comment. Listen to this. It's always impossible until someone does it. Okay, that's bullshit. Okay? Okay, that's impossible, all right? I'm not going to be leaping over any tall buildings anytime soon, okay, pal? In fact, as humans evolve, they'll get weaker, all right? Unless, evolutionarily speaking, they change their environment, they change the way they exist within the world, and start doing things that favor the development of greater muscle strength over greater intellectual capability. By the way, they could do that until the cows come home, until the universe almost ends. You ain't going to be getting strong enough to jump over the Empire State Building, okay? Why don't you try jumping to the moon? Try eating the sun, all right? Yeah, there's plenty of things that are impossible that nobody's going to do, okay? Ugh. All right, I got to move on. Oh, boy. Another dumb question. It's really more a comment, statement, that somebody's trying to couch as a question. Solipsism is the only logical conclusion concerning other minds, is it not? Okay, so solipsism is a school of philosophy. I use that term very, very lightly, calling it a philosophy that believes that we all are not real. Reality, objective reality, is not real. The mind is paramount, reality is secondary. The mind creates the reality. And when he says that solipsism is the only logical conclusion concerning other people's minds, essentially this person is saying that other people's minds or brains or consciousness is the only thing that actually exists, and that the objective reality, we're projecting that, we're somehow creating that, or it's being projected for us. It's essentially the Matrix. If you ever saw the Matrix, the people in those tubs of goo and their consciousness being projected into the Matrix, that was a perfect representation of hard solipsism, this belief that we're all just brains in a jar somewhere and our consciousness is being projected into this world that doesn't actually exist, all right? That's solipsism. Solipsism is the only logical conclusion concerning other minds, is it not? No. You will have no evidence for some other reality. You have no evidence that this objective reality that we share and exist within together is not real. The only thing that we have in the end to verify the objectively true nature of things are our senses. I mean, once we start questioning that, you just start entering into a world of relativism where there's no truth and everything's relative. And you get into this solipsistic, idealistic bullshit, idealism and such, teaching that the mind is paramount, reality is secondary, and only the mind exists, and therefore perception is reality. You're getting into really dangerous territory there. Which is, by the way, where America has gone. Very, very dangerous territory. All these leftists, all these Marxist feminists, they're all a bunch of idealists, relativists walking around believing that perception is reality and there's no such thing as truth, and I have my own personal truth. And while they may or may not have thought about the idea of solipsism, which is just a subset of idealism, as is relativism, if you were to follow their beliefs to their logical conclusion, you would come to a solipsistic one, conclusion-wise. So, yeah, most of these people are solipsists as well. But no, it's not the logical conclusion, Pinhead. And you ought to hear some of the responses to this. Funny stuff, but I'm not going to read them. I'm going to move on. Oh, boy. Here's a new one. This actually isn't new. I've seen this before. I might have commented on it before, but oh, God, this is so stupid. Listen to this. So I'm looking at a picture here of a meme of a modern-day city, and all the trees in the city are fruit trees. Oranges, pineapples, whatever. Listen to this. Listen to this dumbass shit. Here's an idea for you to ignore. Yeah, because sensible people ignore good ideas all the time. We should plant various fruit trees on city sidewalks so everyone, including the homeless, could eat all year long. Okay, there's some issues here. First of all, not all fruits grow all year long. It would depend on what part of the country you lived in, okay? I know there's some fruits that can survive in winter, but grow in winter, I'm not so sure about that. I would have to look into that. I know that apples, maybe can. No. Does fruit grow in winter? Maybe some, but not the majority, I don't think. But besides that, I see a lot of problems. I see a lot of problems with this. First of all, wouldn't you have to climb these trees to get the fruit? And wouldn't you have a lot of people falling out of the tree? You got some 80-year-old homeless dude trying to climb up a fucking pineapple tree or a fucking banana tree. Have you seen how high those banana trees, how high the bananas are up there? You need to be like a fucking spider monkey to get up there to get those. Could you imagine this? All the trees in the city are fruit trees. Yeah, the homeless are going to climb those trees to get that fruit. Right, I'm sure they're going to, yeah. They're not even willing to go to work and get a job, the majority of these people. You really think that all these entitled cunts that don't want to work and want all the people who are willing to work to pay for their lazy asses, do you really think these entitled assholes are going to climb up a fucking tree to get a banana or an orange? I don't think so. Number one, they're not monkeys. Number two, they're going to fall out of these trees. And then number three, they're going to turn around and sue the fucking city for not building ladders into these trees or some shit. Oh, the city planted these trees because they wanted the people to have round-the-clock, year-round fruit. So they shoulda, coulda, and woulda foreseen that people would climb these trees. And if people fall out of these trees, and they obviously were able to foresee that people would be climbing them to get the fruit because that's exactly why they planted these trees, well, then they're liable for my broken hip or my broken leg. Pay up, city. So that's another problem, okay? Besides the fact that the majority of these wouldn't produce fruit in winter, also you'd have a lot of people falling out of these trees and killing themselves. So watch the city's healthcare costs skyrocket and tons of fucking lawsuits. But then, you got another problem. You're driving around your fucking car. What the fuck? What was there somebody on the roof of my fucking car? Peeing on the roof? No! All the fucking apples and pineapples are dropping out of the fucking trees on the top of your car. Oh, that's real brilliant. Yeah. Can you imagine? Some of these fruit trees grow some big fucking melons. A pineapple. You ever had a pineapple drop on your head? I haven't either. But I'll tell you what. Pineapples are pretty rough, man. They're covered in those hard, tough skins. And aren't they kind of pointed? Don't they have like little points on them and shit? All over the surface? I mean, pineapples are not like a fucking basketball. They're this hard piece of wood. You got hard pieces of round wood dropping out of trees and fucking whacking people on their melons. Yeah, that's real great, yeah. More lawsuits. More crashes. Got people riding around on their bike. It's a good thing they're wearing a bike helmet, but they might be wearing a bike helmet, and it might protect them from getting a concussion. But once that pineapple hits them in the head, they're going to crash that fucking bike and kill themselves or get a really nasty injury. And then again, lawsuits. Even if no lawsuits, you've got some horrible bills, medical bills to pay for. You got all the property damage caused by all this fruit dropping on people's parked cars. Oh, my God. Not to mention, oh my God, the bugs. Oh my God. Fruit flies out the ass. You're going to have an epidemic. You're going to have a fly motherfucking epidemic. And by the way, to avoid some kind of insect infestation in the city, they would have to spray these trees constantly, which would mean there would be tons and tons of pesticides being sprayed in a fucking city. Yeah, this is brilliant, right? Brilliant. You know, you get to poison your citizens. And then they get to eat the poisoned fruit too, right? Because they're going to be grabbing it off the fucking tree, oftentimes not even washing it before they take a chomp out of it. Yes. Smart. Real smart. What a dumb idea. All right, moving on. Oh boy, here we go. Listen to this. Why are many people poor in rich countries? Okay, so first of all, before you even make such a, this is really a statement, right? He's making a statement. Because he's claiming that there are, huge swaths of very poor people in America. Well, before you make that claim, you're going to have to define poor. Okay, you're going to have to define poor, because what you define poor in America is somebody that has a car, maybe 2 cars, a refrigerator, a microwave, a computer, maybe 2 computers, a phone, maybe 2 phones, 3 phones, multiple phones, cell phones, Obama phones, food, water, clean water, healthy food, clean food, free food. Boy, oh boy, that's a pretty rich poor person. So rich that they're wealthier than 90% of the world's population. 95% of the world's population, they're wealthier than. But you call them poor. Yeah. First, we need to define our terms. If you're going to define poor as that, I would say that, yeah, you need to redefine it, pal. You really need to redefine what you consider poor. Okay? Because it seems like all this guy is doing is just looking at the wealthiest 1% of people and then contrasting them with the poorest 1%, 10%, whatever, and saying, oh, look at all these people who have so little compared to those who have so much. Oh, isn't it unfair? I mean, all you're really trying to do, this guy that asked this question, is bait people, right? Bait them, make them resentful, try to convince them that there's something unfair, underhanded, nefarious going on. Yeah, look at these rich countries. They have so much, and yet there's so many who are doing without. That's bullshit. You show me someone in America right now who's starving, and I'm going to show you an extreme exception to the motherfucking rule, because if that person is starving, then they have not availed themselves of the multiple social programs available for them, which, by the way, I don't believe in. Social programs which are probably in large part the cause of why they're poor in the first place. Poor by your definition. My definition of poor is very, very different than yours. Apparently, your definition of poor is not rich. I mean, yeah, if you're comparing the majority of people to Donald Trump, yeah, they're poor. If that's your definition, all right? If you're not rich, you're poor. Okay, well, yeah. But I have a very, very different view of poor, and I have seen real poverty. Americans ain't it. Even the lowest of the low in America is wealthier and lives better than the greatest king did 200 years ago. Air conditioner? Heat? You don't freeze in winter? You don't die of heat stroke in summer? Got food stamps, the lazy fucks. They eat themselves into a fucking food coma. Computers, internet. I got my Obama phone. I mean, what do you mean poor? Why are so many people in rich countries poor? I would argue that there are very few poor people in America. They're only poor if you're comparing them to Bill Gates, okay? Anyway, I got to move on. I hate this stupid shit. Stupid shit. Why there's so many poor people in rich countries? And by the way, pal, not everybody can be rich, all right? But you'll have a hell of a lot more rich people if you have a free, open market without regulations, without government controls, than you will in a socialist society that's all regulation and government control, you idiot. And if you haven't learned that by now, you never will. I'm not done. It's just so stupid. Ay, ay, ay. Oh, boy. Poor people. Yeah, poor people. You got all this stuff. All this stuff, but they're poor, right? All this stuff has value. It's all wealth. Oh, but they don't have gobs of money. Yeah, piece of paper. A piece of paper. But they have big screen TVs and cars that can drive them around, and computers and internet and refrigerators and microwaves. Yeah, they're poor. My ass, they're poor. What a dishonest statement masquerading as a question. Fuck off. All right, now I'm going to move on. All right. Oh, boy. Here's another idiot. Probably a devotee of Alexandria Ocasio-Cortez. Listen to this. Fast food is main cause of global warming. Boy, I'll tell you what. Reading and replying to stupid people's comments is tiring. Fast food is main cause of global warming. I guess he's read AOC's Green New Deal about cow farts. Yeah. We breed so many cows to make those yummy, yummy hamburgers. We got too many cows. So we kill the cows, which will piss off the vegans, right? Mass slaughter of cows! Mass slaughter! We're going to kill them anyway to eat them. Her idea is just to kill them all off, right? Yeah, get rid of the cows, right? What are we going to eat then? What will we eat then, AOC? Yeah, good Lord. Well, we could come up with some of that lab-grown meat. Yeah, we need a new meat deal. She'll come up with some meat deal, right? The new meat deal. Phase out grown animal products in 10 years and phase in all laboratory-grown meat. By the way, this is something that scientists are developing right now, and they're getting better and better at it every day, essentially growing meat in the laboratory so that no animals have to be killed. Yeah, I bet the vegans will love that. They still won't eat it, right? You all do know, by the way, that vegans, the only reason that they don't eat meat is so they can virtue signal how much morally superior they are to everybody else, so they can feel superior. They'll still rant and rave about the meat. They'll come up with some bullshit. Lab-grown meat? No animals killed? Well, it's still somehow oppressive to animals, and they'll think up some way that it's still oppressive and horrible and evil to eat lab-grown meat, and they'll still stay vegans. Because a lot of these people, their whole lives are veganism. I've talked to some of these vegans. It's like they're some kind of religious zealot nuts. They've dedicated their whole entire existence to not eating meat and only eating non-meat products. And they just talk about veganism all the time. It's pathetic. Pathetic. Your whole reason for existing is controlling what kind of food you eat and don't eat. Wow, that's real deep, yeah. Anyhow, sadly, this person is mistaken. The causes for global warming are not cow farts. They're not cows. The reason that the Earth sometimes has warming periods and cooling periods is because the energy output of our sun is not static. Sometimes it wanes, it ebbs, it flows, it gets greater, then it ebbs and greater again. So, essentially there are long periods of time where it's putting out more energy and long periods of time where it's putting out less energy, which affects the temperature of the Earth, which is why we've had ice ages and long tropical periods. Has nothing to do with cow fucking farts. Moving on. Now, I think this is a dumb question because I think the answer is very obvious. Why do people limit their mind and their thinking by thinking about worshiping God instead of using logic and critical thinking? Well, the reason for that, by the way, I had to add some words there because this person's grammar is horrible, and obviously English is not their first language, so there's some words missing. But anyway, that's the gist of the message. I've addressed this in the past. The reason people prefer God and religion to logic and critical thinking is because, well, you've got that continuous verb there, the thinking part. That's why. God, religion, no thinking required. Logic, reason, critical thinking, thinking required. One is easier, and never underestimate people's ability want to take the easier path, even if it's wrong. Next. All right, you know what? I think I'm going to end it here. Oh, boy. Dealing with people's stupid shit is tiring. I'll tell you what. Anyhow, I hope you enjoyed this episode of Stupid Shit and my replies to it. And if you did enjoy it, please consider donating to my channel. I make a lot of content, not just here on YouTube, but other places as well. You'll find all the requisite links in the description of this video. And if you want to support my work, you can go to therealistphilosopher.com/donate. That's therealistphilosopher.com/donate. Yes, I have my own website. And I'm also doing a daily live call-in show from Monday to Friday, which is going to be starting at its new time come Monday, running from 7 to 8 p.m. New York City time. You can also find that link in the description. And if you'd like to be on the show and talk about a subject that's a little more serious and want my full and undivided attention, like to spend more time on it discussing the issue, then feel free to email me at admin@therealistphilosopher.com. That's admin, ADMIN, at therealistphilosopher.com. That is my email. And that's it. I am the Realist Philosopher, and I wish you a good day. Take care.